And it's one thing for the Matsuura family to know this, or the people who work for Matsuura, or the Japanese people, but you need the world to understand it. And I just want to commend you and say you're having success. You're on the Lights Out podcast.
Thank you.
This
This is a
will be
huge
all
success.
over LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I just want to say, Yuto, humbly, this is the third most important turning point of your life. Being on the Lights Out.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Hey, what's up, guys? Eric, Dave, how's it going?
How you doing, Nick?
Hey, everyone.
Good to
I'm
see
doing
you.
good. We are all at our houses because we have a very special guest, and he actually lives in the future. He's already in tomorrow. That's how special he is. So I can't wait for him to teach us about the future of manufacturing. We have Yuto Matsuura.
Thank you.
Welcome to Lights Out. You are the director of Matsuura, fourth generation, just like me, family business. So welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you. My pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
So let me just start by the thing I think we can connect with the most, family business. I'm third generation of my business. My my grandfather immigrated to the United States and started our company, and it was a small company. It was a struggle for us, and my father turned it into a much larger company. And I was told my entire life that the third generation ruins everything, and everything falls apart in the third generation. So, congratulations to making it to the fourth generation.
Happy number 4.
Yeah, actually, my father always says the same thing. The third generation is supposed to, make it end. But the downside of the fourth generation is there. But the third generation is somehow saw their grandfather working so hard, right? The founders work. But as a fourth generation, I never get the chance to see him, working. So that's the downside of being fourth generation. But anyway, I get a lot of same thing from many people. You are fourth generation, maybe you will not understand how much work and effort was made during the foundation. Anyway, that's the life we live in.
Yeah. So you get it completely. Let's start with your story. Let's go all the way back to kind of the beginning of your story, and then maybe you can, as you tell your story, give us a little bit of the history of Matsuura, the entire business. But were you aware that I'm going to work for Matsuura? This will be my career. I will work for the machine tool business, or was it kind of up to you?
Okay. So, many people ask me this question, and it's kind of long story. So I always answer. When I was a kid, my father brainwashed me. But instead of that, I would like to give you a true story. So I guess for many people around me, it was always assumed that I would join the family business from the moment I was born, because I was the firstborn in the family and I am male. And so there were certainly expectations that based on me from an early age. As a child, I felt a mix of pride in my family and also the concern about the weight of those expectations. And as I got older, I started to understand what it takes to be a strong leader and how intelligent and capable person I need to be to succeed in international business, and how wide the gap between who I was and who I needed to become. So this concern only grew stronger during my teenage years. And eventually, when I was 15 years old, I had to make a decision. So that was the year the Great Recession hit Japan. So, and our company was impacted severely as well. So I think our annual sales dropped to 30% of what they normally were. So it was a crisis. But Katsu, so my father, Katsu, he saw an opportunity in it because the company's value had temporarily decreased So he thought it might be a good time to transfer some shares to next generation. In this way, it would help us avoid a huge tax burden as well. But before moving forward, smart guy. But he wanted to be sure if I was committed, so that I would not change my mind later, right?
Yeah.
So that's why he asked.
So that's why 15 was when you had to make the decision, like, do I want to take ownership of this business?
Exactly.
Obviously, like transferring equity, ownership in that regard, but also owning it internally in your heart. Do I want to commit to this? 15 is pretty young.
That's pretty amazing. Hats off to you. I would have no clue at 15.
Yeah.
Eric, your son is 14, Jack, right? He's 14. Yeah. Could you imagine that? Like,
I don't think it's summer break. He probably hasn't put pants on all day, let alone decide what Yuto had to decide,
Dave, how old's your oldest? I know you got like 17 kids, but
yeah, not quite 17, but she's 9. But it's 15 years old. I mean, you're just figuring life out at that point, much less considering what your professional life is going to look like into adulthood. That's quite something.
Yeah. So Yuto, take us back to exactly what you were feeling at 15 when your father asked you, okay, should I transfer ownership to you? Is this a burden that you want to carry?
Yeah, that's what exactly he asked me. And of course, he gave me explanation that shares the value of the corporation and we can avoid the tax. Of course, as a 15 years old, I didn't have any understanding. But in the end, I said, yes, I will join the business. But you guys said all the nice thing about me deciding to join the business when I was young, but it was not like that. I said I would join the business, but it was not because I wanted to. It was more like because I felt I had to. So I felt when I was young, I always felt the expectations, pressures from many people, and I did not want to upset or disappoint those people who thought I would take care of this business in the future. And at that time, I didn't have any other clear career plans. So that's how I made my decisions. Yeah.
So you felt more, would it be safe to say it felt more like an obligation, like you had to do it to carry on the legacy?
Exactly.
But you didn't necessarily wake up dreaming about machine tools and excited about making things out of metal and everything that I see on LinkedIn today.
No. So actually, Katsu, my father, when he was young, it was different. So his grandfather took him to the factory, and exposure has started when he was a kid. But because of his experience, and he didn't want me to feel the same pressure when I was a kid. So it was, of course, I was I got opportunity to sometimes visit my factory. I mean, the Matsuura factories, but I never understood what was going on. So that was the moment he asked me to give question, and honestly, I had no idea what machine tool industry was at the time. But that's what it was.
It's similar to my life. I would have to. So here's what I remember, Yuto. I would be sitting in the backseat of my father's car, and he would make about 13 to 15 phone calls in a half-hour period, checking with all of his managers, everyone who was running a different department. And I was just hoping I would get to my soccer game on time. So it was just like hearing it all. And I would go to the company and I would see the machines, but I had no idea everything that came with the family business. It wasn't until my early 20s that I used to work in the shop when I was a teenager, but it wasn't until my early 20s that I really felt like, okay, this is going to be our burden if we accept it. But my mother was always telling my father, as the second generation, he didn't feel like he had a choice, really. It was already decided for him. And my mom was like, you can't do that to our kids. They should be able to choose whatever they want. So he was careful to if we had to ask, we had to say, hey, Dad, should we come into the business? So it was maybe a bit different for me, but Was it like that for you? Was it expected, or was it you could do whatever you want, Yuto? It's totally your decision. Just let me know. Was it expected, or was it a you tell me type situation?
Okay, so I think my parents didn't specifically talk about it, my futures. They were like, okay, it's your choice. You can do whatever you want. But
Okay.
many people around me, like even neighbors, my classmates, my relatives, they always say, oh, you will fill bigger shoes. You will take a responsibility to take care of business. So, for example, you do fan survey in your school, right? Like who is most likely to be successful, who is most likely to be actor, right?
Yes.
Does it make
absolutely.
sense?
Yeah.
And I was always number one who is most likely to be successful, like to be the rich person, because everyone knows I'm involved in family business. The funny thing is that there is another girl who is also in the top of the list who is most likely to be successful. But the reason why she got in the list was because there is a rumor that she liked me. She was most likely to be my future wife. So that's why many people voted her. So,
yes.
So I think this story can tell you how many people expect me to be the next president, right?
Yeah.
So instead of that, I think my parents probably were more careful about it so that I wouldn't feel the pressure.
I thought you were going to say you were voted most likely to work at Matsuura.
So there is no number two. Probably my brother. Yeah.
Yeah, we should ask about that. Do you have siblings that are involved in the business? Brothers and sisters?
No. So I have one younger brother, and he's working at their bank in Japan. And so far, we don't have any plan to bring him in. That is my father's policy. So in the second generation time, there are, of course, the president was my grandfather, but there are like brothers and cousins. And as a third generation, my father saw a kind of issue in this organization structure because employees had to show respect to president and the president's brothers. And sometimes the decision making is very complicated. So he thought it would be good for, family business to just choose one, family member to take care of the business. Of course, I can get along with my brother, and I'm suffering from the shortage of people. I can just ask him to join us, right? But but I would really give them a serious consideration, and I came to the conclusion that I cannot guarantee their future, like next generation, cousins. They might fight each other, right? And it could be ugly. So I kind of, okay, as long as everyone thinks I'm doing okay, I'm doing okay. So that's why Katsu calls me Plan A, and he calls my brother Plan B. So if I fail, Plan B is coming up.
That's an awesome nickname.
That's great.
That's beautiful. So I have a few more questions for you, and then I know Dave and Eric have a few questions, but I just love the story because I can relate to it from the other side of the world. Okay, you're at 15, you've made this decision, you're going to join the business, and it's more because everyone expects you to more than it's in your heart at that moment. Did you feel at any point in your life this start to change where, okay, now I have a fire in my heart, now I have a passion, this is exciting, and I think about it when I'm in the shower and when I'm dreaming at night, and the way it is for me. Did that start to happen to you, and when did that happen?
Okay, so I told you the story. So despite everyone's expectation, I didn't feel much passion at first. But instead, I simply thought I need to be capable enough to run this business well. And I imagined how miserable it would be to see employees who disappointed in me. So that fear at least motivated me to study hard when I was a student. But after I made the decision to join the family business, my career path started to take shape. So Katsu gave me a list of universities that he hoped that I would attend. And time to time, he took me along on some of his international business trips. But the biggest mission he gave me was to get my master degree somewhere in the North America. I ended up studying in Canada, but it was not just to get it, but it was to finish it in 1 year. So it was a huge challenge for someone like me who was born and raised in Japan. Eventually, I gave everything I had, and I made that happen.
You got your master's degree in 1 year?
In 1 year.
So you had a bachelor's degree in Japan.
Yes.
And you came to Canada and you got your master's degree in
engineering.
Basically 1 year. It's usually at least 2 years.
Yes.
That's incredible.
So you were in class all the time.
Yeah. So, I would say that was the most challenging because that's education and the college university system is very different from Japan. So I was so surprised that, at least if I finish 10 courses per year, basically I can get a master's degree in 1 year. That's how it worked. But if I fail one course per semester, probably that will be end. And if I fail two courses, I will be kicked automatically. So there was so much
removed
pressure.
From school?
Exactly.
All the way? If you failed twice? Oh,
I drop out.
I would have been removed from school many times because I failed calculus so many times. I had to rearrange how I did college so I could get a degree without having to pass calculus. So Dave, did you go to college in Canada?
Yeah, although Yuto, you went to the University of Toronto, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm in the Toronto area, so that's so cool. I didn't go to the University of Toronto. I went to the community college, but that's such a small world.
Interesting.
Okay, so you studied very hard. You achieved your master's degree in only 1 year, and then what was the study? What was your degree in?
So my major was mechanical engineering. I always liked, engineering stuff. So my bachelor degree was also in engineering. And of course, Katsu thought it should be either of engineering or finance. So I chose engineering because that's what I liked. And anyway, so I would like to continue the story. So I made that happen. Then that experience gave me a real sense of confidence. And from that moment on, I thought I became a completely different person. But along the way, I also came to a realization that the opportunity and the support I had were not things I earned by myself. I was incredibly lucky to be born into this family. But when I was thrown out into Canada, I was not totally alone. Many people treated me like their own family. So there were all the friends and the business partners of my family, and also they gave me full support and make sure I survive. And also they told me very touching stories about my family, especially my grandfather. I don't want to sound arrogant, but it seemed my grandfather under deep respect from many of them, even though he didn't speak English well. So I guess he, gave everything he had. He earned their trust. Then he built a relationship, right? So I guess but he made a lot of sacrifices. He made a lot of hard work, even through tough times, so that the future generation could have a better education that he couldn't have and have a better life. I was the one who benefited all. So, and also, of course, I was and I am spoiled in many ways. But the real inheritance was not the money or asset. It was the people and relationship my family has built. And thanks to that legacy, I grew up surrounded by support and I have experience most people never get to have. And but sadly, my grandfather passed away while I was in Canada. So when that happened, I asked myself, what did I ever give back to him? I knew he always dreamed of traveling to Europe together, and he always said, "I want to play golf with you, Yuto, someday." And I never made any of that happen. And then he's gone, and that's kind of when I made a promise to myself I will give my everything to my family business. That will be my way of honoring him and his legacy he left behind. So that was surely the turning point, because when I made the decision, when my father asked me that question, I was not motivated, but that moment changed my mindset. And of course, since then, like many things have happened. Like especially after I started working at Matsuura, there were millions of times I wanted to quit, and just as many times I stood back up and came back to the office. But the moment when I was a student, that experience was surely the moment that when my family business became my passion.
Wow. Jeez, I wasn't ready for that story.
Beautiful.
You got me all choked up.
It's a great story.
Yeah, of course I made that up.
Oh man, the parallels are so there. My grandfather's 94. He's still around, but he has an incredible story of just what he went through. And yeah, I know I'll have that feeling someday when he's not around, that's what we can give back, because same thing. He gave everything for us, and he started this business, and he went through a lot of really hard times. And yeah, it's funny. He never really gave me a lot. He didn't hang out with me a ton. He was never like giving us money or gifts, but what he always did is he put energy and finances towards our education, because to him that was the most important thing. And when I hear you say that the sending you to Canada and the relationships and the legacy, how everybody talked about your grandfather, that's really what he left you. I totally can connect with that. It's amazing.
Thank you.
Okay, well, now that I have tears in my eyes, I'll ask you my last question, and then we can move on to the other guys.
Great job, Yuto.
So
you got him.
I got him.
So, you know a thing or two about making chips. That's the main show under our group, and then this show, Lights Out, is all about automation and technology and running the shop lights out. You're at home resting, and your shop is making you money. And so when you think of different machine tool companies, machine tool builders, there's only so many that you automatically think about automation. And Matsuura is at the top of that list for me. Your business has a great reputation for incredible automation with your machines. What do you think is the reason for that? Why are you so strong when it comes to automation as a brand and as a business?
Interesting. So I think we've been a pioneer in this type of solution, which is a 5-axis and the palletized solution. So the first model came out into the market in early 90s. So we always try to be ahead of others by making there something that never existed. So I think the main reason was either we did it first. And I think because the concept of a 5-axis and a pallet pool is just a machine specification. That means everyone can copy that, in my opinion, okay? Everyone can make the 5-axis and put their pallet changers and the large tool magazine together, and then package them. But I think what makes us unique is the build quality. So our machine solution concept is how you can eliminate the switching time and cost between different jobs. So, of course, and while you keep your spindle up and running. So, of course, you can keep your fixtures, work holding, and the tools selections in your machine. And ideally, you get the repeat orders, you put the material, you press the button, you go home. But next morning, you find out tolerance is off a little bit. You do it and you do make adjustment, you make it again. That doesn't make sense. So true automation is really based on the build quality. And you can never understand the difference looking at the brochure. Because the brochure tells you, okay, this is a work envelope, this is how I create because it has a linear scales or whatever. But what we do in our manufacturing is very different. So we still do the hand scraping to ensure the highest precision. And even when we mount the linear guideways, we always make sure the straightness and the parallelism is within 2 microns. So this little hairs and the detail makes us a different and make our machines reliable. So I think that, of course, when we came in early 90s, we came up with this idea, 5-axis automation. This is automation for a high mix, low volume manufacturing environment. But at the same time, we made sure the machine is reliable enough to ensure the precision accuracy will be always there. Does it make sense?
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Look, I think it makes perfect sense to me. Let me say it back to you, and you tell me if I nailed it. So, if you have 40 pallets, 60 pallets attached to a 5-axis mill, and you're trusting it to make the same part with or a variety of parts with the exact precision over the life of that weekend or that entire unattended cycle, it really comes down to the quality of the machine tool itself. Because once things start to drift out of tolerance, if you can't catch it, then you're going to automate scrap. You're going to automate parts that don't meet the quality standard. And so what I heard from your response is our machines are built so precisely and so durably, and so you can trust the machine so much that's why we have this reputation for 5-axis machine tools with pallet automation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did I capture that?
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect.
Thank you.
On the Lights Out podcast, we've talked about it for weeks now, right? Process reliability. You cannot automate something that's unreliable. And it sounds like you build that right into your machine tools, right into your pallet pool, repeatability and precision. And that's the cornerstone, right?
Mm-hmm.
And isn't that what we just saw, Eric? I mean, we talked about it on the episode we recorded last time. So I was sending you photos from Switzerland. We were with one of our partners, Swiss Modular Triag. And I was asking the owner, I said, that machine right there, how often does it run unattended? How often does it run through the night? And he said, 6 days a week for the last 15 years.
Well.
And I said, what?
They're Matsuura machines, right?
Yeah, it is. It's a MAM machine. Yeah, exactly, one of your machines. And I was like, so how many times have you had to change out the spindles? And he said, none. We don't crash the machine. So good on them. They have good programmers and they don't crash the machine. But I was blown away by his answer. I was thinking like, yeah, this one usually runs 80% of the time or something like that. But I was just totally blown away by it. So.
I think one of the things that speaks to this too is just talking to some of your partners here in America, Yuto, and learning how rare it is for like an MX330 or like, is it the 550 to be sold without a pallet pool? Like it's extremely rare. I mean, a high percentage of those sales are purchased with that automation right away, right?
Exactly. So because we are manufacturer, we all know like what kind of breakdown we have. So I would say 85% of our annual sales comes from this type of pallet change package. Yeah.
85% of your 5-axis mills are sold with the pallet change.
So we offer pallet changer option for our 5-axis and our horizontal machines. Combining these two, 85%, probably little bit, almost say 85%, even only for 5-axis. Yes,
that's very, very impressive.
That's what I see whenever I see one.
Yeah, that's extreme.
Yeah.
Whenever I hear the name Matsuura, I'm reminded of a local shop, and their challenge was they were very much limited on floor space, which put a ceiling on what they could produce in their shop. And they had a lot of conventional vertical and 4-axis machining centers, and they ended up buying one MX330, and then that went so well, they bought 2 more MX330s and got rid of the rest of the machines, and they're just running those. And the increase in the volume of work they could produce, and it really allowed them to double down into making satellite components. It just completely transformed their business, which, it's a remarkable story. And I'm sure that's one of many. Matsuura's probably had that impact on a lot of shops. So a question I had for you, and this probably comes a little bit on the heels of what Nick was asking about, but when you're advising machine shops who want to kind of embark on that automation journey, what would you say is kind of the first step or one of the most important steps to get right? Is it a little bit into what you're talking about with build quality and choosing a technology partner that's going to give you that process reliability, or are there other elements that people often don't think about?
Okay, so I like to talk about the 5-axis with the pallet changers. So because this is our main product and the main solution, and okay, I like to answer this question by explaining there is a type of people who hesitate to invest in this kind of a solution. Okay, so I think everyone agrees that the automation is the way forward, but there are some people hesitating in 5-axis machines. So I like to talk about specifically 5-axis side. So they believe it's overkill for their current job mix. So their concern is that they don't have many parts that require 5-axis application, but they still want automation. So they go, I need a 3-axis cheap 3-axis mill with a bunch of parts. That should be enough because we rarely do 5-axis machines. But I believe that even this type of manufacturer should seriously consider 5-axis machine. I think this is a start. So the real power of palletized 5-axis is not the cutting complex geometries, but it is about the automation capability and the flexibility in high-mix, low-end environment. So most Matsuura users don't just use their 5-axis for ultra high-end components. They use it for indexing and face machining, which allow them to cut many parts of the part without manual intervention. So basically, they are doing 3-axis works, but without flipping the part by hand. But this is not complicated at all. But that's the cause of hesitation, right? So, and it's very simple way, but it's not. It's very simple, and it makes a huge difference. It eliminates manual intervention and maximizes cycle time per pallet. This means it's easier for you to schedule your lights out operation, easier to keep your spindle up and running. So, and with a pallet changer,
thank you so much for saying that. That's that is such a great point.
It's made Dave's year.
Yeah.
So we just bought our first 5-axis machine, and we had some guys at our company who were like, "We don't do 5-axis parts," and they're looking at like turbine blades and blisks and this, and it's like that's not why you get a 5-axis machine.
That's right. Yeah, and so I mean, making like the best use of the technology that's available to you and not overcomplicating it. And another question I'd want to ask you was like, what separates the people that are successful with automation from the people that aren't successful with automation? And I think you kind of touched on it there, right? There's a mindset thing there where you have to be kind of open-minded to making use of the technology for the work that you have, right? It's like, yes, you've been doing it this way for years on your 3-axis machine, doing multiple setups, but that's not going to allow you to go the next 10 years. You need to be more competitive. You need to work smarter, not harder, right? If we can figure out how to do 10 hours of work in 8 hours, one of two things: either we can do more work, or we have those 2 hours saved. We can go home. We can see our kids, spend time with our families, go on a vacation. But either outcome, either path you choose, that's so much better.
Well, and we just talked about our partner in Switzerland. They run 1 8-hour shift, and they get almost 24 hours of machining every day. So it's not just 10 hours of work in 8 hours. It's a whole day in one shift. Exactly.
So impressive.
Okay.
So Yuto, do you see people fail with automation who say, "Hey, we tried to automatically load the machine and that just doesn't work for me"? Do you see that, or not so often?
Well, not so often, but of course sometimes I meet such people. And again, I think there are two milestones. So milestone one was the thing I talked about. They have to realize that 5-axis is not just a niche solution for complex work. They can do a lot, even they have a 3-axis job. But milestone two is how can you make the most out of this pallet changes on a 5-axis package? So, our solution is designed to eliminate the time and cost associated with switching different jobs. So this is, of course, achieved through our tool and pallet capacities, but capacity itself has its limit, right? So true flexibility comes from, in my opinion, the effective standardization of tools, work holding, and materials. And I think I touched reliability does matter when you do a light operation in high mix low end high mix low volume manufacturing. So, for example, consider a repeat job you run a few weeks or a few months ago. If your machine can maintain the same accuracy as when the part was originally proved out, you want to keep the setup in the machine, right? So, because once the setup is broken down, you want to reevaluate it. Otherwise, you will be afraid. Anyway, okay. So the question becomes how many.
You might not get the same result
exactly
if you change one variable, right?
Thank you. So the question is how many setups can you retain in your machine? So the more parts you can learn with the common work holdings and the tool selections, the higher the number becomes. So when you establish this kind of standardized environment, every repeat job becomes a bonus. So just load the material, press the button, go home. No need to touch programs or offsets. I think that's how you can, make the most out of our package solution. And again, with pallet changes, you can easily slip in one-off jobs between regular production without disrupting a flow. So I would say standardization is another milestone you wanna look at.
Yeah, absolutely.
Outstanding. So I think, I had 3 questions for you, Yuto, and the third one I was going to ask has been answered 2 or 3 times over already beautifully. So I'll stick to just the first 2 I had. And, thinking about 4 generations in a family business is amazing. Do you have a personal vision for Matsuura over the next 10, 20 years?
Oh, should I answer?
Please.
Do we have to sign an NDA?
No, you don't have to give us proprietary info. No.
Of course, I can answer. So, I think my previous generation, from my great grandfather to my father, they did an incredible job building a relationship with the customers and the partnerships. So we are very proud of our sales network and their customer base. Then labor shortage is a thing in everywhere. And of course, this can push our sales because we offer automation solution. But at the same time, we are also the one who is suffering from a labor shortage. So I kind of see, okay, demand is growing. The problem is how can we maintain it? How can we catch up with the demand? So I think it will be my responsibility and my mission to think about how we can make our business sustainable. So there is a research saying that in Japan, we have 75 million people of workforce currently. But in 10 years, we could lose 10% of them. So either way, we have to hire 10% people. We have to keep the people, or we have to 10% more efficient. So that's how we can catch up with this decreasing number of people. So, and my asset is I spent 2 or 3 years working on our internal ERP and PLM system. That was a really, really hard work. And in the end, I found out that, okay, I really need to work on it seriously. It's not a one shot. It's going to be 5 years, 10 years projects. But that gave me a real good understanding of our business, how it works, and what is the challenging point I need to change. And so that gave me a good sense of, okay, for coming 10 years, I want to work on this. I want to change this so that the goal is this and this and that. So I would say I would like to focus on more internal operation for coming 10 years. Well, it does
Wow.
not sound like how can I say exciting,
Yeah, that's it. That's
but
a
that's
great,
my focus.
great
And
answer.
super relevant, just touching on the labor shortage issue and just the fact that, everyone needs to be thinking creatively about how to overcome that, not just to maintain current demand, but to provide room for growth and scaling as well. So yeah, well said.
And a lot of the conversations we're having, about automation, there's symmetry there with ERP and how the business flows from start to finish. So that's it's extremely topical.
Yeah, completely. And I think it's an awesome answer because you often hear, okay, there's a labor problem, solve it with automation. And here we have an automation company, a machine tool company that specializes in automation who also has a labor shortage. And you talk to the one who will be driving this boat and who's already starting to drive this boat, and it has what's your focus for the next 10 years? And it's internal processes with your technology, with your ERP and people. And so I think that's telling. The more you grow, even when you're small, but the more you grow, the more you realize it's just people who makes the company incredible.
Absolutely.
And so it's hard to find great people. And so for me, I always make the joke, like, recruiting is a huge part of my job. Finding the right people who I think are the right fit and have the right culture and have the right values and getting them to come work for my business is a huge part of my job.
Well, tell me about
that. Sometimes I log into LinkedIn in the morning and I swear like the first 10 posts I see are people talking about how AI is going to replace so many jobs. And I think to myself, come on down to manufacturing. We got a place for you. Maybe there's an opportunity there. Who knows?
So I have one last question for you, Yuto. You've been on this journey for a while now. What are you most proud of?
So is it my personal history or entire Matsuura history?
Yeah, I think you can answer that either way you want. You could even answer it both ways if you want. Yeah, I'm just curious on this journey so far. What are you most proud of?
Okay, so I would like to give you two answers. For other company, I think that one of the biggest journey for us is there are so many things we did, but I think my father really worked so hard on building a dealership sales network, and now we have a very capable group companies and dealership we are so proud of. But it does not mean that we always had a capable team from the beginning. So for example, we used to have a manufacturing site in the UK, but later we had to close the business because we didn't do good that time. And but their UK team have gone a huge transformation, and now they are one of the very capable sales and service company, and with a good reputation. And in the US, we had exclusive importer dealers with one of the major machine tool distributors. And we had a relationship for decades. And we got divorced, and Matsuura decided to make our own branch company in the US in Minnesota. And I think the date of the foundation was April 1st. So many people thought it was a joke, April 4th. And many people say, oh, Matsuura would not last. But somehow, of course, big thanks to everyone and my father's initiative, Matsuura United States is a successful company right now. So, and we have similar stories everywhere. It is not just about our group companies. I can say the same thing about our dealership, especially in Europe. So we have survived through some tough times, and through this journey, we built a great relationship with them. And at one exhibition, one of them made a speech about our business, and they said the relationship with Matsuura was not just business. And I think this means a lot to us. So building a good partnership, leadership, that's one major journey we have gone through. And my personal one is there. So I've been working at Matsuura for 8 years now. So I think one of the unique achievements was launching our online marketing initiative. So during the pandemic, I established a dedicated team. The trigger came from our international group company. So as I said, our build quality is a unique point. We need to push this uniqueness in the online in marketing. And but that time, to be honest, Matsuura was a dinosaur when it came to online marketing. We didn't have any strategy, but now we have a decent in-house capability to create online content, and and we actively share what we do through videos on social media. And I think that was a major transformation of our company. And at the same time, it was also life-changing experience for me as well. So before I took initiative on this project, that was the first 2 years of my time at Matsuura, and they were the most difficult and the most stressful years in my life because I didn't lead anything. I had no freedom, no responsibility, and I didn't feel I made a contribution to the business in any meaningful way. So at one point, I asked the managing team that if I could get more involved with their hands-on engineering stuff, because that's my skills and experience. Before I joined Matsuura, I worked for Fanuc Japan for 3 years. So I kind of had a confidence with robot automation. Probably I can make something out of my experience. But I was told to stay focused on a bigger picture, because it would be risky for someone like me to get deeply involved with a specific project because nobody can say no to me. And I kind of felt I had no opportunity to try myself. And day by day, the confidence I worked so hard to build started to fade. So, but eventually I got this opportunity to start something from scratch, to try, to fail, and to prove myself. That's how I gained my confidence back. So I guess this was a second turning point in my life when the family business became my passion. And so this was
So it's interesting. It's connected to marketing, Yuto.
Yeah.
So, we had a similar situation at our business where we had virtually 0% of our new opportunities or new projects came in through what we call like inbound marketing. Somebody finding us online, they were searching for a solution to a problem. They found our company and my grandfather invented a machine tool as well. It's the first circular carbide production saw. So that's where my focus was when I was young. Anyone searching for high production sawing should visit our website. And we had very little. And, we sell a lot of tombstones for work holding for horizontal machines. We weren't getting very many opportunities, almost zero from our website. And so that I wasn't an engineer like you. That was kind of my thing. I read every possible book. I listened to every leader. I watched all the YouTube I could about how to get people to find you. And that's when I started to have my own confidence. We transformed the marketing of the business to where if you fast forward 5 years from almost zero, it was like, why do we need all these salespeople? The website's bringing all the opportunities. And then, the thing with marketing, Yuto, it's like every 2 or 3 years, everything changes again. You do a search now and you have artificial intelligence finding you the results instead of traditional search engine optimization. And so it's this fun adventure of trying to chase down how people find you and what you want to be known for. Like you said, you wanted to be known for that incredible precision and build quality. And it's one thing for the Matsuura family to know this, or the people who work for Matsuura, or the Japanese people, but you need the world to understand it. And I just want to commend you and say, you're having success. You're on the Lights Out podcast.
Thank you.
This will be all over LinkedIn. I just want to say, Yuto, humbly, this is the third most important turning point of your life. Being on the Lights Out.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity.
I'm totally kidding.
That's a very humble man. Honestly, if you haven't noticed.
I'm totally kidding. the truth is, though, I see what you're doing on LinkedIn. Dave Turner works for me. He's like, hey, I talked to Yuto Matsuura. I'm like, I want him on my podcast too. So because you're putting yourself out there, because you're telling the Matsuura story, that's why I reached out to you on LinkedIn and tried to get you on the podcast so you could share the incredible legacy that your family has built. So whatever you're doing, it's working. It's one of those things where you don't see instant results, but I know you see it. I know you see that the brand is growing and that and you have the hard part figured out. You have an incredible value proposition, an incredible culture, a really good sales network, and a brand that people connect to elite manufacturing and automation. So that's the hardest part. Now you just need to get that story out there. So thank you so much for joining us and
This has
sharing
been
that
great,
story.
Yuto. So many good
you.
stories. Thank you so much for your time.
Oh, I appreciate your
But
time.
you made me cry.
You did make Nick cry. So
now you owe me a beer whenever we see you. Yuto, will you be at the IMTS next year? Will you come to the US for the IMTS show?
Of course. The next year.
Okay. So can we do this again? Will you join us again at the next IMTS? Because we're going to have a recording booth in our recording studio in our trade show booth.
Okay, why not?
Yeah. Hey, I put you on the spot. We're recording, so you can't tell me no.
Well, I'm looking forward to that. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful tomorrow since you're already in it.
Yes.
And Eric, Dave, thank you so much for joining me on this episode with the legend Yuto Matsuura.
Yeah, thank you so much, Yuto.
I think we should close this in Yuto's words of load the workpiece, push the button, and go home to your family.
Go home.
Love that.
Yeah. And with that,
Okay,
let's
everyone.
turn the lights out.
Everyone, load the materials, press the button, let's go home. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Yuto.
Yeah, perfect, Yuto.
Awesome.
I love it. Thank you so much, man.
That's great.